You have had a stroke? Maybe it's time to visit Venice. Welcome to episode 32. We all need therapy, including our mental attitude, which is important to stroke recovery. So strap yourself in and take this opportunity to visualize yourself physically improved enough to take such a trip. Stroke is a reality check. Your bucket list of things to do in your life just attained an immediacy that shocks you. If you should visit one city before you die, maybe this is it. I say that partially tongue-in-cheek and partially seriously. If you have followed this channel at all, you know that I am coming back from a devastating stroke. And this is a sort of progressive plan to get out there and shake life up. Venice might be beyond many of your plans just now, but choose somewhere. I started many years ago with the local mall. And I had no idea I would get better enough to visit Venice. It is something to aspire to. There is a tendency to turn yourself inward as a stroke survivor. This is an attempt to turn yourself outward. You think that the stroke has ended your touring days. The excitement of going to explore new places, experience beauty, and enjoy life. Just a chance to stop the same old routine. You really should shake things up by visiting the most unique city in the world. This is particularly true for stroke survivors who have limited stimuli and the boredom that leads to discouragement about life in general. It is a great counterpunch in your fight against the enormity of what just happened to you. Also, if you have recovered enough to make the journey, it is a great statement that you are back. I went to Venice after my stroke, long after, and I'm delighted I did. I'm 78 years old, going on 79, and my touring days are winding down, shall we say. So any place I visit now, I hope, will knock my socks off. And to be frank, Venice did. I cannot walk like before my stroke, but Venice had a visual delight on every street corner. I did not have to walk far to see anything. Beauty was all around me, and no cars, no trucks, no bicyclists, mopeds, electric bikes, etc. to dodge. And if you are unable to make the visit at all just now, then come with me and share my visit. As I said, I worked my way up to Venice, but you can consider places closer and cheaper to home to get started. For my part, before my stroke, was more a fan of Florence and sort of had a disdain for its arch rival, Venice. I have visited Italy many times in the past, both professionally and for pleasure, but never Venice in all those years. My wife suggested we include Venice in a northern Italian trip, and I am glad we did. I have traveled and lived throughout Europe, and the US. I have to admit, Venice is special. If you have never been to Venice, you should look at this as a travelogue, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it for you. It is not intended as an exhaustive tour, but a personal tour as a stroke survivor. But wait, you exclaim, how would I get around Venice if I am disabled? There are special tours for people with limited mobility, but if you want to go along with an able-bodied companion, it is entirely doable. I reference a handy link to an article below that addresses if you are disabled. The mode of transportation to get anywhere is by foot or boat, where you will encounter many bridges. By the way, roughly 50% of these bridges have a ramp. It by no means is easy to be bound to a wheelchair, but it is possible to get around. The other means of transport is a very cheap water bus of Vaporetto. By the way, a 3-day pass, for example, would cost roughly $50, unlimited pass. The Vaporetto takes wheelchairs. You use the Vaporetto on the canal-like bus routes. The more expensive option is water taxis, personalized a little. Aside from the person, by the way, driving the Vaporetto or captaining it, there is an attendant helping passengers on and off. I was sensitive to watch them help people with wheelchairs. Heck, they even noticed I was a little bit shaky on my feet, so obviously it's preferable if you are ambulatory, but still doable if you're in a wheelchair. The historic center of Venice is made up of 121 islands, connected by 435 bridges. Thanks to the public transport service, approximately 70% of this city is accessible to people with disabilities. The green areas shown in this map on the screen now can be reached by Vaporetti, which can carry up to 4 wheelchairs at a time. The light green areas, on the other hand, can be reached by something called a motorscaffi, small motorcraft that can carry only 1 wheelchair at a time. To go from island to island in the absence of equipped bridges, it is necessary to use public transport. And there are maps relevant to traveling to Venice on the net if you are disabled. I worried that the Vaporetto would be too choppy a ride for my ability to maintain balance if I had to stand, but not at all. And being an old tourist, there are offers to sit down. Also, the canals are not open ocean, and there is mostly the water wake from other boats to contend with. By the way, please like and subscribe to this channel. Obviously, my intention is to provide examples of not giving in to stroke and share so that my message of hope is circulated. And also, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss an episode. By the way, before my stroke, I had a reasonable knowledge of Italian, but the stroke wiped that out. So I went worse equipped to communicate than those of you who haven't the speech area affected. I mean, the processing time of even English by those of us so affected is difficult, but time heals all wounds and at least makes them better. Processing speech is still slowed. After 20 plus years after my stroke, especially when someone asks a question in a foreign language and I'm expected to reply rapidly. There's no rapid after my stroke, as you notice from my speech. But anyway, I arrived late at night on a Tuesday and left early on Saturday. This was the two views in the morning when I opened the shutters on my modest hotel room. This is up and down the little canal that joined the bigger canal, the Grand Canal. Day one, we went to two islands. Murano in the morning. It's the island associated with glass making, and it's also a beautiful island and full of interesting places. It's obviously less touristy. Well, it's everywhere in Venice area is touristy, but it's little less crowded. In the afternoon, we went to its sister island, Burano, associated with lace making. They used to make the finest lace in the world, and it was only affordable by the rich. Their market was cut off, along with the heads of their best customers, the aristocracy, with the French Revolution. Obviously, I found it necessary on each island to sample the gelato. And I mean, it was my duty to ensure the quality was up to the rest of Italy, and it was. Particularly the pistachio sauce on the pistachio gelato. It was delicious beyond belief. Or at least I found it so. On Thursday, day two, we went to St. Mark's area by way of the Rialto Bridge. This is around St. Mark's Cathedral. Obviously, we had a little coffee there and all the things that tourists do. What's incredible is that Venice was head of a small empire and collected things from the empire that they brought back to Venice, these treasures. And then after we went to St. Mark's, next door is the Doge's Palace. And that was worth the trip also. And one of the things we did in the Doge's Palace was they had his actual gondola still protected, and it was stopped. The Doge's basically stopped with the I think it was in 1795, so minimally that gondola is obviously older than that, and I had to have my picture taken in front of the Doge's gondola, which is all black, And that tells you everything about the Doge. And of course, this is a next slide of the bridge of size, which for the prisoner was a one-way trip over the bridge of size. In the evening, we attended a Vivaldi concert in situ, so to speak. Vivaldi is the most famous composer from Venice, and it is a city where there, as you know, very few buildings built after 1800, so the atmosphere is very Vivaldi-like, especially in the evening. We returned by Vaporetto in the evening, and it was a beautiful moonlit ride in the bow of the Vaporetto. The next day, day 3, we went by foot to the area called Cannaregio, which happens to be famous as housing the first Jewish ghetto from 1531 to 1795, when it was closed. If you have read Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice as a kid, this is the ghetto where Shylock lived. We had some excellent food there. They also had several colored banchi or banks, including still the Banco Rosso, or red bench or bank, from which you got chits which is a sign that you borrowed money. Hence, we still to this day refer to being in the red. That phrase comes from that time. We walked about that area, and then at night we went to dinner at a wine bar that served the Italian equivalent of tapas. It was named Bar L'Archivio, and the sort of casual place you can pop into and have something to eat in a totally relaxed and casual atmosphere. I love those kind of places rather than the heavy sit-downs. I used to love those, and then now I'm in old age, I'm less attracted to them. But anyway, a lot of restaurants in Venice, by the way, are tourist traps, so you have to vet a place carefully. I saw a statistic that, who knows whether it's totally valid, but it seems to have been. I saw the statistic that said 40 people on the street, of the 40, 39 will be tourists. So, in other words, that makes eating expensive, made for tourists, and made to tourist standards. The entire world wants to visit Venice. And is it any wonder? Hopefully you will have recovered to the point of being able to visit, or you will eventually recover to the point of being able to visit. It is centrally one of the great experiences in life. With that, I'll say goodbye for now. Thank you for watching, and don't give in to stroke. Thank you.